Welcome to a new edition of the Famous Interviews with Joe Dimino. On this episode, we talk with creatives coach, health advocate, and survivor Fierce Manson. From our base in Chicago, we cover an extraordinary life dedicated to helping artists achieve their full potential. We get into her vision and philosophy along with success stories. From wanting to meet Snoop Dogg to her rise into her current role, we get into an amazing story. Enjoy this interview. Fierce, this is so good to meet you. Thank you so much for taking a minute out for the show today.
You're welcome.
So let's begin our journey into your good work by asking you this. 5 years ago, this pandemic changed our lives, changed our world. How did you make it through that time period, and how has it changed the way that you approach life today?
Well, you will not believe this. When we had the pandemic and COVID-19, believe it or not, I have a call center that I've been working and operating for over 10 years, 10 plus years. But to make a long story short about COVID-19, I felt a little guilty. Believe it or not, during COVID-19, I was making ends meet hand over fist because I was working with SBA. It just so happened the call center landed a contract with Small Business Administration, and we were handling all the files for COVID-19 people trying, of course, the COVID money, trying to get loans, trying to keep their business going. And so the girls, all of the girls and that was working the phone lines, we felt a little bad. We were making like $5,000. Some of the girls was making $5,000 to $6,000 a week. Now I wasn't making $5,000 to $6,000 a week, but I was doing pretty darn good. I was getting $1,000 to $1,500 a week, and I was like, "Oh my God, I just feel so bad." And so some of the other girls were saying the same thing, and then they were like, "Well, somebody's got to take care of people," because we were hearing all the stories of people struggling and things of that nature. But on the other side, on the flip side, I was able to use those funds to help what I love, my music. I love my music. And I was able to help the artists and was running my Fierce International group, which I still have, but they really supported the Fierce Female Network. And they really did a lot of posting on Facebook, and they were sharing the posts out. And so it actually, one hand was washing the other during the pandemic.
So let's get into exactly what you do for a living right now in 2025. And to do that, I'm going to put you into grade school. It's 12-year-olds, it's career day, and one of the kids in the back of the room is like, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" How do you answer them?
I support artists and I promote music. I'm a certified life coach as well. So I do coaching sessions with artists and with individuals who want to get their life on track and get to the next level.
So what did you want to be when you were 12 years old?
Believe it or not, when I was 12 years old, I remember just like it was yesterday. I was sitting at a table, I had a piece of paper and a pencil, and I wrote down, I says, I want to be a teacher, I want to be a model, and I want to be a secretary. And I've accomplished two of those things. I did get my degree in education. And I also was a secretary for many, many years. The only one I didn't do was be a model. I always was very passionate about being a model, and I was always around individuals. Cheryl Wallace, she was a student at DePaul University, and I always hung out with her because she was a top model here in the city of Chicago. Back then, her face was plastered all over magazines, Fashion Fair, Ebony, just all over the place. And she paid her education. She got her degree by modeling, and then Jeffrey Hines, male model, very known as back then. I dated him for a little while, and so I would hang out with Cheryl though, and she was teaching me the rope as far as modeling, get your portfolio done, go to photo shoots, get some great pictures. But I really didn't break through. I broke through one time when I was like 19, my picture, I believe this is a terrible story. My picture showed up on my high school graduation picture, showed up on Ebony magazine and Essence magazine without my approval. And one day I was sitting outside and some of the kids, ran up to me and they says, "Adrian, we just came from the store. Guess what?" I says, "What?" "Your picture is on the cover of Essence magazine." I says, "Get out of here." I didn't believe it. Well, the person that took my picture They took my graduation pictures, and they happened to be in the dark room with a photographer that was working with Essence Magazine. They saw my picture, and he sold my photo. He sold my photo, and without me knowing it, and they put my picture on the cover of magazines. And when I went down to the store, and I said, "You got to be kidding!" I said, "That's me on the cover of a magazine." And so that was my short stint of being a model without really getting paid for it, or knowing about it. Just kind of, So that's the way that happened. And I never did anything else as far as modeling.
Well, I'm curious. Take me back to where you were born and raised, your childhood. What were these foundational elements of being so highly driven and being a coach to creatives? How did all of these kind of evolve into who you are today?
I would say the very beginning of that would have to be my freshman year at Providence St. Mel. I don't know if you've ever heard of Providence St. Mel High School here in Chicago. That's where my brother was going. He graduated from Providence St. Mel, and I went there just my freshman year. And it started there because I was in class. I had this one class, and the young lady that was my teacher in music, I had a music class, and she says, "You know what? You got a really lovely voice. You got a lovely voice." And she says, "You need to take music lessons." And I was in the story. What was the West Side Story? I had a really short singing part in West Side Story. But the only problem with my voice, it was really cute, but it wasn't strong and powerful. And she says, "You need to take some lessons." And the only part I sang in West Side Story was, "Send for Chino, send for Chino. This is not the Maria we know." And so that was my only line. And so as it turned out, the music teacher, her mother came and was sitting in the front row, and she told her daughter, the teacher, she says, "Who's that girl that sang that little short line?" She says, "Oh, she's one of the students." And she says, "I heard her. She's got a lovely, lovely voice." And so fast forward, I didn't take music lessons. I ended up transferring, going to Madonna High School. Now get this. My sophomore year at Madonna High School, Mrs. Davison, same thing happened. Mrs. Davison, I took drama. I said, "Well, I'm going to take a drama class." I took drama as one of my electives. Now get this. Mrs. Davison calls me out from the class, and she says, "Adrian, get up on stage and do something." I'm like, "Oh my God." And so I get up on stage, and I did my little skit just like that, just came out of my head, just like that. And so when I went and sat down, the whole class was staring at me going, "Oh my God." I'm wondering, well, what happened? Did something magical happen on stage? And so they're all looking at me, and like their mouths is hanging open. And so I'm like, "Well, woman, what happened?" And as if I wasn't the one on stage. And so then after class was over, all the students left out. Miss Davison says, "Adrian, wait a minute. I need to talk to you. I'm like, "What, did I do something wrong?" And I go up, and she says, "Adrian, you got a remarkable gift. You're phenomenal with acting." And she says, "You need to go to Goodman Theater." Here it goes again. "You need to take classes. Goodman Theater." She said, "I know it's expensive." My first thing I said, "I don't have the money to do that." And so she says, "Well, you need to try to find a way because you got a gift with acting." I says, "Okay." And being a sophomore in high school, you don't really, my mother didn't, of course, she didn't have the money to pay for that. And so I didn't think any more about it. Well, you know what happened after that? You know what happened after that, Joe? I ended up graduating from high school. And of course, I went to college, went to Columbia College. And I was a major journalism major. I was a double major, journalism and television. Took classes. My professors said the same thing. They said the same thing. I love to write, just writing stories, writing books, just writing. And I went into a journalism class in television. I already had a manuscript, and I gave it to one of my professors, and he read it. And in class, he does the same thing. He kept turning his head, looking at me. And he says, "Your stories can really go somewhere. What you're writing, they can go somewhere." He says, "What you're doing is a really wild ride." He says, "I really can't even figure out how you come up with these stories. He says, I can't even imagine or figure out how you do this. He says, but you've got a gift. They would always say, you've got a gift. I says, oh, okay. All right. And so, and there it goes. It goes from there. Of course, I haven't broke out into Hollywood or anything like that, but they always would tell me it's in you. My teachers, they all said the same thing. It's in you. You got a gift, you got a talent. It's in you, and we just can't figure out how you do it. But it's something in you that you've got it. You've got the shine. You've got it.
That's wonderful. So, who has been kind of your muse or inspiration or hero in your life?
Oh my goodness, my hero. Oh, that's a good question. Hmm. She's no longer here. I would have to say the one person that always encouraged me, I'm going to say two. My brother, he's passed on almost 2 years ago. He would always say, you're going to make it on the internet. And listen, let me tell you something. When he said that, the internet was not big. When he said that to me, we were still doing dial-up. You remember the dial-up?
Oh, yeah.
Where you get that noise. When you get on the internet. And so one day he came home and he just looked at me and he says, you can make money on the internet. I said, I can't make no money on the internet. He says, yes, you can. You got a lot of people that's in sports, and these basketball players, they make a lot of money on the internet. And for some reason, it just stuck with me. And then my aunt, she would always tell me, you can do whatever you want to do. You can do whatever you want to do. And I says, oh, okay. She says, put your mind to it and you can accomplish and do whatever you want to do.
So let me ask you this. If you can meet anybody alive on the planet right now that you find absolutely fascinating, who would you love to meet and spend some time with?
Oh my God, that's an easy one. I talk about this man all the time. My mother wants to shut me up because she can't figure out why does she never stop talking about this man. Who I would want to meet. Yeah, I came close one time. Not close, but kind of close. Snoop Dogg. I would love to just sit down, pick his brain, meet Snoop Dogg. And the reason why I say I came kind of close was because I had somebody on my show I interviewed, and he ran in the same circle as some other people that always was with Snoop Dogg. And he says, well, I run in the same circle with a lot of the people, but he didn't follow through. This person that I interviewed, he didn't follow through as far as getting me in contact with some of his management people. That's the way it was supposed to go. Well, you know how these things go. Sometimes people drop the ball. But the reason I would love to meet Snoop Dogg, because he fascinates me. He fascinates me. Not, I mean, his music is good, but he fascinates me because he is a unbelievable businessman. He has his hand in so many things in the way that he does it. And what really fascinates me about him, the way he aligned himself with Martha Stewart. I says, if somebody can align with Martha Stewart, because she's not one of my favorite people. But he got me to watching the cooking show when he first got himself aligned, and him and Martha Stewart, the show. And I says, Snoop Dogg is really fascinating. Because these two, you wouldn't think of them, double teaming and doing a show together. And then I found out about his cookbook, and then he's got this food line, and then he's got this football camp. And of course, he's got all these different products. I'm like, this guy is just too much. He's not just about singing. He's about a lot of everything. And he just fascinates me. I would love to meet Snoop Dogg. I really would. I would love to meet him.
I saw a viral clip that went out. He used to hang out, I believe, in front of a stadium. It may have been either the Raiders or I can't remember, or he hung out in front of a stadium, and he did it all the time. And one of the broadcasters came by one time and said, hey, what's going on? What's your name? And he said, look, I want to be up there one day with you guys, and kind of started talking about his thing. He wanted to be connected. He wanted to make decisions. Well, this broadcaster brought him up, and he met, I think it was Al Davis. I think it was the Raiders. And he met some of the top brass for them and all of that. And years later, they show him, the broadcaster, walking on the Lakers parquet as Snoop is sitting on the sidelines, and Snoop just looked over, and the broadcaster said, I don't know if you remember me. He said, man, you were the reason forget about it. I know exactly who you are. And they hugged each other. And he was just talking about how you get that one little chance. And, you had this kid that no one knew. And this broadcaster said, hey, let's have you meet the top brass. I like your spirit. And he saw it in him before anybody else did. And those are the moments, man. That's why Snoop, he has that nonstop angle on him. He's just going to
Mm-hmm.
keep going,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yes.
So let me ask you this. At the end of the day, what gets you up every day? What is the motivator for you to change the lives of these artists, to cultivate your soul, to take care of all of these things at a high level? What is that motivation every day for you?
You know what? To be honest with you, be honest, Joe, I love music. I love music. I've had a lot of artists on the show doing promotions for them. And some of them, believe it or not, some of the artists, music did go mainstream. There was one artist, and this was a funny story, just a few years ago, right during the pandemic, this happened. And I remember when the song came across, came across for me to do a promotion. Why You Hate Me. He named the song Why You Hate Me. And so I played the song. I just told him, you need to take out this one word. It was that first. You need to take that out. And so did the promotion. Everything went well. Everything went really good. So one day I took a break. I jumped off the computer. I had to go to the store really quick. Ran into the store and I started turning around and the song was playing on the radio. I said, wait a minute. I says, I know this song. That's Why You Hate Me. So I hurry up and checked out, went back to the house and started emailing the guy, Mr. Miami, that was his name, and emailed him. I says, you guys went mainstream. It's playing here in Chicago and he's in Florida. And they were like, you got to be kidding. I'm like, no, I'm not kidding. And another one was Black MP Wells. I remember this guy so very well. His song did very, very well, but Black MP Well came with a plan. He had the name of the song was the Cookie Song. And I was like, the Cookie Song. And so he told me the story behind the song. He did the song after his girlfriend because she was the best thing in his life. And he wanted to release it on National Cookie Day, which we did the promotion, and he was running the promotions not only in Chicago, but he ran it in Jamaica, and he was running all over the Caribbean doing TV interviews. And so that song did so very, very well. And I'm telling you another story. Tell you another story. Now, this happened years ago, and this guy is always in my mind. I don't know why. I'm gonna have to kind of reach out to him, but Mikey Wax. You probably never heard of Mikey Wax. Mikey Wax. So one day, this is when I first got my record label, AWM Records, many years ago, AWM Record. And so I went down to the TV station, WGN, went down to WGN and I was talking to different people. And it just so happened Mikey Wax was in the studio. Nobody knew who he was. He was gonna perform. He was performing. You know, sometimes they have an artist perform in between. And I started talking to him and he says, I didn't even think I had a good voice. I never thought I had a good voice. I didn't think I was a great singer. I says, you gotta be kidding. And he says, well, my brother does all that management. Long story short, he sang and we ended up connecting and I interviewed him on my show way back when. Now, I don't want to give people the false impression. He didn't become popular because he was on my show. It just so happened we connected in the beginning of his career. He ended up blowing up larger than life. That guy, he is amazing. He was on the show, Mikey Wax, got a lot of great songs, a lot of great songs. I'm not sure what he's doing now, but I'm pretty sure he can retire on how well, an independent artist. He didn't have a record label. He did it all, him and his brother. Brother was the manager and he sang all over the place. And I'm pretty sure he can retire right about now. But yeah.
That's wonderful. So, talk to me a little bit about your coaching. What's your philosophy when you go in with an artist to transform and help them find their path? What's kind of your overall philosophy and vision?
My philosophy with artists is I try to get them to understand what image is and the way to market their music. And I say this all the time. The one thing about artists and musicians, or anybody that's a creative, is focusing on one thing, just focusing. Creatives have the tendency to keep creating a million things at one time, and that's not the way to do it. Create one or two songs, or even maybe three songs, and market those to the hilt. But what artists is, they have a tendency to just keep churning out music, churning out music. They will churn out 30 songs in 1 month, and that's not the way to do it. And so my philosophy is, let's focus on maybe 2 or 3 songs. Let's get you a good image online. Let's get you a great website, and then let's market your music. Let's promote your music, the 2 or 3 songs that you have, so people get familiar with your music. And I've come across a lot of artists that's got great music, but I just can't, it's a hard time getting them to focus. And then artists is nothing with artists. My philosophy, you gotta be able to listen. That's another thing that's very difficult with artists. Is a lot of them don't want to listen, and they don't want to change. I have one great guy. I says, you gotta lighten up your look, lighten up your image. He would only want to wear dark, depressing clothes, just dark and depressing. I says, you've got to lighten it up a little bit. He says, I don't want to do that. That's who I am, just dark and depressing. And I couldn't do nothing with him. I says, well, there's not much I can do there. So, my philosophy is to focus. Artists has got to focus, get a great image online that's appealing to the masses. You have to have an image that's appealing to the masses. And so when the Fierce Female Network first came out, and I went to do my photo shoots, that's what I did. That's what I do. All the images that's online, I went in and did the photo shoot. It was nothing like my personal persona, because I don't walk around looking like that. But I went in and did a photo shoot, very edgy, very raw, very rough, very tough. You know what I mean? And so as it turned out, people loved it. They was like, oh, I love that look with this edgy, this tough girl image. And so even the person that made my intro to my show, he did the intro. He sings the intro, and then he named it. He says, you know what? There's only one Fierce. There's only one Fierce Manson. There's only one Fierce. And he just kept saying it. And I said to him, you know what? I said, you know what, Savon, you're right. There is only one Fierce. And I was it just kind of stuck, and I just kept using it, and boom, bada boom, Fierce Manson. And, I just tweaked it a little bit, Fierce Manson. And he just said, there's only one Fierce. There's nobody else like you. And I said, you're absolutely right.
So let me ask you this. Of everything that you've accomplished, all the artists that you've helped, everything that you've overcome and evolved to, what are you ultimately the proudest of?
What am I the proudest of? That's a really good question. I would have to say the individuals that listen and made it and got out there. Yeah, the one I'm proud of, those that have the ability to have an open ear, listen. I'm very happy and proud of having the mentors that I had. And so I'm very proud of that I had a listening ear to listen to what they were telling me. And I'm proud of the individuals that listened and allowed me to help them do promotions. And I've had a lot of success with a lot of different artists that made it on the charts. They hit the charts, the iTunes chart. And so I'm very, very happy and very proud of that, of the others. I love to pour into people. And when I see them make it, I'm very proud of that. I'm very proud of them making it, because that's their dream. That's what they want to do.
So let me ask you this. Everyone out there has a perception of you. Family, friends, clients, fans, everyone that knows you, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I'm a motivator. I'm a teacher. I'm a motivator. I motivate artists, and I love to pour in. I mentor artists. I motivate them. I cultivate them. And those that listen, they do very well. They do well. And they enjoy me, and I enjoy them. So that's who I am. I motivate and inspire them to keep going, and don't give up. Don't give up. Just don't.
For sure. So if anyone out there wants to hire you, they have any questions, they want to reach out, any other good business, where do they go? Where's the best place?
One of the best places to go is speaker.com. If they Google the Fierce Female Network, it's going to come up. the Fierce Female Network. The first one may be a speaker, but if you click on the speaker link, it's going to take you to my show. And click on the little crown. There's a supporters group. You want to click on that. And if you're an artist and you want to get to the next level, join the speakers group, or you can email me directly. It's thefiercefemales@gmail.com. Thefiercefemales@gmail.com.
Wonderful. I will put all of this in the show notes. Fierce, what a great story. Thank you for your passion. Thank you for your story, and best of luck. And I hope I hear or see of you talking to Snoop one day, because it's out there. It's going to happen.
Oh, well, thank you. I receive it. I receive it. I receive it. Yes, I am pulling in all that great energy. Snoop, here I come. Here I come.
Coming in there. That's right.
Thank you, Joe.
So much. Thanks for tuning in to another famous interview with Joe Dimino, where we cover the world of art, literature, business, spirituality, music, and more from around the globe. Our esteemed theme music was composed and produced by the great E.E. Pointer of Kansas City's River Cow Orchestra. If you want to hear more interviews, visit the Famous Interviews with Joe Dimino channel on YouTube. You can also find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Thanks again for listening, and until next time.